This is Shyam Global Radio in partnership with Timber Media, Podcasters for India Inc.
Hello everyone, how are you doing? You're catching me, Ahalya, on another edition of our podcast series, Shyam Global Radio, where we have really interesting discussions and conversations about the world of HR and things to keep a look out for. Now, something that often bothers many of us, especially in this day and age of social media, is the presence of echo chambers, right? I'm sure you've heard this word floating around, and it makes sense. Algorithms and programs often result in us being exposed to only one point of view, one perspective, or only one way of looking at things. But the truth is, when you look at the world, it is made up of people from different walks of life, people with different experiences and backgrounds, and therefore different points of view. And when that trickles down into the workplace, well, a workplace is just a tiny reflection of the world outside, or at least it should be. Because echo chambers aside, diverse perspectives are what open the doors to really interesting conversation, which then results in really amazing growth. The kind of growth and progress that one may not experience unless they engage with diverse perspectives. Diverse perspectives and opinions can be very valuable. People from different backgrounds, experiences, and viewpoints bring different points of view that can help organizations become more inclusive. That being said, and taking into consideration the context I set in the beginning, diverse perspectives also present challenges because it takes time to get used to new ways of thinking and interacting. A culture that welcomes diverse ideas and challenges individual preconceptions is what we have in mind when we picture an inclusive workplace. It's a place where employees feel comfortable bringing up issues that might not seem important at first glance. When you integrate different perspectives in an organization, you create a culture of collective intelligence that leads to better decisions and outcomes for everyone involved. So on this edition of Shyam Global Radio, we figured that we'd go through some steps that an organization's leadership can take to create an inclusive culture that integrates diverse perspectives. Now, the same practice what you preach is a good place to start because it is important to build a community of practice. When people feel safe sharing their ideas and opinions in a business environment, they're more likely to feel comfortable bringing up issues that can otherwise be dismissed by others as less important. Now, creating this safe space happens naturally when everyone in a community of practice, from managers to employees, encourages this approach. Communities of practice are groups that exist to exchange ideas, learn from each other, and help each other grow as professionals. You can build such a community at your workplace by creating a forum for employees to come together and discuss their jobs and careers. You could also make an effort to get to know the people who work for your company, the individual behind the face. This allows us to learn about their backgrounds, experiences, and opinions. It also opens the door to asking what they'd like to see at work, which, let's face it, is a very important first step in building a more inclusive culture. Which brings me to the next step, right? In the past, we've discussed diversity and inclusion and the various nuances of that priority within the workplace. And one of the most important things that has come up repeatedly is the value of a good feedback mechanism. So it's really important to hold regular feedback sessions. First, you need to decide what type of feedback sessions to hold and how often to meet. While you might want to hold weekly one-on-ones, this might be too frequent for your team and can get a little bit exhausting. You also don't want to hold a session that feels like a formality, right? One needs to find the right balance between not being intrusive and being proactive in creating an inclusive culture. When an organization holds feedback sessions, they're encouraging people to communicate to team members that they're curious about their work experience and seeking ways to improve. And that's a really important message to give. And you can even get creative with how you structure these sessions, including giving feedback about an aspect of someone's job. This can help people who are in roles that don't usually receive feedback, while also building awareness of issues that occur outside of the office. And this one stands true now more than it ever did. Create a flexible work environment, or I swear it's going to be difficult to survive. You'd be surprised at how connected flexibility and inclusivity actually are. Creating a flexible work environment is another way to create an inclusive workplace that values different perspectives. It might include making sure your daily work hours are open, allowing for flexibility in when people can take time off for work from home, offering flexible work hours, or offering training and development opportunities that allow employees to grow. Creating a flexible work environment is one way to help employees who feel like they need to check some aspects of their work experience. For instance, many people who work in customer service are used to checking their phones for information or putting together a report for their manager throughout the shift. However, this type of work doesn't always fit neatly within a typical 9-to-5 schedule. So you can help employees by creating a flexible work environment that allows them to check their phones when they need to, but also provides the flexibility to check them when they want to. You catch my drift? And finally, last but definitely not the least, encourage employees to speak up. People need to feel comfortable raising issues with their managers, team members, and even other employees. This way, you can identify issues early, which can save both time and energy if they're not significant. It can also help prevent issues from becoming bigger problems. After setting up your feedback sessions and creating a flexible work environment, you can encourage people to speak up even more. You can do this by holding trainings, encouraging managers to respond to issues raised by their employees, and having policies that encourage people to speak up about issues that might be affecting them. You can also set up channels for reporting issues, such as a team-oriented Slack channel or a company-wide email address. Diversity and inclusion are topics that many people are uneasy discussing. They might be apprehensive about what could happen if they're too welcoming of wildly differing viewpoints. And this is understandable, but we need to overcome these fears and make more room for truly valuable perspectives in our workplaces. One good way to get started is empathy. Get to know the people around you better and be more aware of their backgrounds, experiences, and ways of thinking when discussing issues and concerns with them. Next, teach the basics of inclusive communication with people from different backgrounds. Practice inclusive language and make sure that you're using inclusive language in your daily work routine. When it comes to creating an inclusive workplace, events are key. Find ways to bring people together and have in-depth, open discussions that promote healthy, respectful debate in your physical space. Encourage feedback to improve workplace practices in your organization. So these are a few steps that leadership can take to integrate diverse perspectives in the workplace. It's one thing to encourage them or to facilitate them, and it's an entirely different thing to actually integrate those perspectives into the workplace and reap the benefits of open dialogue. So why don't you think on these steps and see how it works out for you? And in the meantime, we'll work on bringing you some more interesting conversation on the next edition of Sherm Global Radio. For now, stay safe, stay happy, and stay curious, folks. This is me, Ahalya, signing off. Adios.
This is Sherm Global Radio in partnership with Timber Media, Podcasters for India, Inc.